Hey guys, how are you? Welcome back to my channel, The Fallen Pages. Today's book is The Arabian Nights, which is also known as The 1001 Nights. Specifically, this compilation is from Barnes & Noble, and it is translated by Sir Richard F. Burton. And specifically, this edition, I like it because of its really beautiful illustrations, which I will be showing you guys in a second. Let's just look at the front of the book, like how beautifully it's crafted, the illustrations and all of that, the detail of it, the binding and all of that. So the Arabian Nights was also known as 1001 Nights and is one of the most iconic and enduring works of the world's literature. And its origin stretches back over thousands of years, weaving together the mystique of the East with an unparalleled narrative structure that continues to captivate readers up till now. And the book itself is like a mosaic, and which means that it is not the creation of a single author. It has multiple stories inside, but specifically this book doesn't have all of the Arabian stories, Arabian Nights stories, because there are a lot. This book has the famous Sinbad, Ali Baba and the 40 Thieves, and other famous stories from the Arabian Nights. And it is sort of a collection of the Arabian stories, and the book itself has I think evolved over time, because these stories were translated and bits and pieces were scattered, and a lot of things I think changed if you were to look at the previous Arabic manuscripts of the book, but a lot of things are still the same. And basically the stories have evolved over time when it came across different cultures. The core of the Arabian Nights lies in its framing device, I believe. And the main protagonist of the story is Scheherazade. When it starts, basically, the protagonist of the Arabian Nights, it is basically a story inside a story. The protagonist is Scheherazade, a woman who is in desperate bid to save her life, and tells a king a new story every night. She spins these tales so skillfully with clever cliffhangers that the king is forced to keep her alive for another night, and thus the stories never end. That is why it's like 1001 Nights, and some say there were more than 1001 Nights stories. So the storytelling, the Arabian Nights storytelling is sort of a survival instinct for Scheherazade, the woman, the protagonist, which creates a powerful theme of intellect in the story, the strategy and the resilience of the woman. And while Scheherazade's personal story is captivating, which is also mentioned in this book, in this compilation, the stories she narrates cover a dazzling range of subjects: adventure, romance, intrigue, betrayal, and moral lessons. Historically, the earliest versions of these tales can be traced back to the 9th century, if I'm not wrong. And when they were first compiled in Arabic, however, the collection was not a static one. And the stories were added, adapted, and reshaped across centuries up till now, and influenced by the changing dynasties, the rise of trade routes, and the infusion of cultural influences from the Indian subcontinent, Persia, and even Greece. And it wasn't until the 18th century that the collection gained widespread fame in the West. And thanks in a large part to the French translation by Antoine Galland, who first introduced the West to the enchanting stories of the Arabian Nights, 1001 Nights. What sets this collection apart is its fluid nature. The tales are not isolated from one another. They're sort of like connected. They have a similar genre but different stories. But rather they are intricately interconnected with recurring themes, characters, and lessons. From the tale of Aladdin and the Magic Lamp, to the Sinbad the Sailor, Ali Baba and the 40 Thieves. They're sort of like all connected when you read the book in detail. Each story reflects the values and social mores of its time, often with deep philosophical undertones. The world of the Arabian Nights is one where the mystical coexists with the real. The reality of the both worlds, supernatural and the natural, exist together, and where morality, fate, and divine intervention are as significant as human agency. One of the most significant aspects of the 1001 Nights is the way it subverts traditional gender roles. Scheherazade herself is a figure of intelligence, power, and intellect, and qualities not often granted to women in historical times, also in not historical literature. Yet her intelligence is not merely for self-preservation. Through her storytelling, she teaches the lessons of virtue, morality, justice, and humility in the book. The role of women in the stories varies, but they often emerge as characters who influence the course of events in the society in which women could hold significant sway. Though this power is often not liked by the majority of the people, but it is linked to, this book is linked to the intelligence and the moral compass from the perspective of a woman, because Scheherazade is a woman and she's basically fighting for her life so that the king doesn't kill her. And she tells these really intellectual stories that interest the king, and that is why he keeps her alive. And as we reflect on the cultural importance of the Arabian Nights, we begin to see its influence in our daily lives, in the literature, theater that exists today. These tales have not only persisted in their written form, but have been adapted, reinterpreted, and retold across generations. Maybe sometimes the stories that were told in the East also exist in the West to a certain degree, even though they do not have any connection. They speak to universal themes of love, betrayal, justice, and triumph of good and evil, or good over evil. Their adaptability and fluidity are a testament to the deep well of imagination they draw from, with each retelling adding new layers to the meaning and relevance of the contemporary audiences. Let me just show you the illustrations that are done in this specific compilation. See how beautifully it's crafted, it's made. Let me just show you. So it starts with the tale of Scheherazade, the tale of the trader with the genie, so total are around, I think, 20-25 chapters, which are not all of the stories of the 1001 Nights. So Scheherazade, let me just tell you about Scheherazade, is basically the daughter of a loyal vizier in that time, in that period. Becomes the wife of a king, and that ruler, by betrayal of his first wife, is acting like this. He's killing the women that he's marrying now on the first night. To avenge her, he marries a new wife each night, only to execute her at dawn. And he's basically angry. Faced with this grim fate, Scheherazade devises a plan, because she is now married to that king. And she devises a plan to save her each night, and other women in the kingdom. She's basically the hero of other wives and all of that. So on her wedding night, she begins telling the king an enchanting story, but leaves it unfinished, creating a suspenseful cliffhanger that leads to another story, the next chapter. And she begins telling the king an enchanting story but leaves it unfinished. And this also intrigues the king. That is why the king doesn't kill her each night. And eager to hear the conclusion, the king spares her life for another night. Night after night after night, she's still alive. And she has a lot of stories to tell. So Scheherazade weaves the captivating tales with morality, humility, adventure, and wisdom. Through her clever storytelling, she gradually transforms the king, softening his heart and teaching him the value of justice, mercy, and compassion. Over the course of 1001 Nights, Scheherazade not only survives but also redeems the king, makes him fall in love with her. Her story is a testament of the power of intellect, courage, and morality, and also storytelling can change hearts also, and break cycles of cruelty and restore hope to the broken kingdom. And let me just show you one of the... So this is basically Old English, I believe, and it's not the basic English that we read every day. Look at this illustration. It's also really detailed, and you know, it's really beautifully made. There are poems inside of different stories and all that. Poetry. Let me show you another illustration. The Tale of the Enchanted Horse. Look at this. See this? It's really detailed, really beautifully made. The first voyage of the sailor Sinbad. I mean, I think these are watercolors, maybe. So it talks a lot about magic, jinns, demons, because Arabian Peninsula is famous for these talismans, magic, and jinns, demons, and all of that. Marrying a jinn and all of these things. The desert is filled with jinns, I believe, according to the Arabian literature. You know, see this? So this is how the jinns are portrayed. The demons are portrayed in 1001 Arabian Nights. I'm just going to show you the illustrations because these are really beautifully made and also really detailed. And see this? Whoever the artist is has done a really beautiful job. The craft, the detail that this artist has put in. And this is how the chapter starts. See this? I mean, it's really beautifully designed. The paper, the printing is also really beautiful. It's really, it looks rich, you know. The Adventures of Harun. See this? The jinn carrying the whole house. Adventures of Harun al-Rashid. Look at this. It's a really beautiful book. Even if you do not like to read, but it's like a really good book to have, you know. Ali Baba and the 40 Thieves. Look at this. They're trying to kill the guy. And the color combinations in the artwork is also very intriguing. Really beautifully made. The anatomy of the characters, the patterns. at this. So each story is also connected to each other. The characters reappear in other stories also. Let me tell you a little bit about the stories that are mentioned. Let's talk about the tale of the enchanted horse. The painting inside is of an enchanted horse that is flying, and this tale is another fascinating story from this book. It's about a prince or a young hero comes across a magical horse that possesses the ability to fly. And the horse is enchanted, often by a curse or a spell, and offers the rider unparalleled power and freedom. This enchanted horse typically plays a dual role in the narrative of the story. It is both a vehicle for adventure and a symbol of both privilege and responsibility. And the hero uses the horse to travel great distances in the story, fighting enemies or complete difficult tasks. And however, the horse's magic often comes with conditions or hidden dangers, and as its powers are not always under the rider's control. As the story unfolds of this book, The Enchanted Horse, the hero faces challenges that require wisdom and bravery and decision making by using his moral compass, and learning that relying solely on magic is not enough. And themes of loyalty, trust, and consequences of power are explored as the protagonist navigates the complexities of using the enchanted horse for good. And there's this other story, The Barber's Tale of Himself, in the Arabian Nights. This is the illustration. So the story is like a humorous and self-reflective story from the Arabian Nights. In this tale, a barber narrates his own misadventures, often in a comical way and exaggerated manner. The barber is typically portrayed as a character caught in a series of absurd situations, highlighting his wit and resourcefulness in navigating the challenges he faces on a day-to-day life. And the story often serves as a comedic relief of the figure, the protagonist, within the broader narrative of the book, with the barber recounting moments of confusion, miscommunication, or unintended consequences of his decisions. His tale may involve his encounters with wealthy or powerful individuals, and he is clever sometimes, and he's also sneaky sometimes, and he has these efforts to escape. He has the skill of escaping from difficult situations. Throughout the tale, the barber's personality shines through in the story. He is both resourceful and humorous, and willing to entertain or deceive to survive. The narrative often ends with a humorous twist, demonstrating that despite his cunning, the barber's own flaws or his miscalculations lead to unexpected yet comical endings of his decisions, of his outcomes. And the tale embodies themes of cleverness, unpredictability of his decisions in his life, and the humor found in everyday struggles. The other stories are Sinbad and Alibaba and the 40 Thieves. These stories you would have heard, and there are other stories also. If you guys want me to make another video on all of these stories separately or in a single video, you can also leave that in the comment below, so that you can know better about the Arabian Nights, and I can make more videos about the other stories that are not mentioned in this compilation by Barnes and Nobles. So I guess, yeah, if you guys like this video, like this book, please do leave your comments in the comments below, the comment section below. And I guess this is it. See you next time in the next video, and have a good day.